Blog Talk Radio.
Hello again, everybody in the franchise world. My name is Stan Friedman, and this is Franchise Today, coming to you today solo from Atlanta, Georgia, as I wish my co-host Paul Segreto safe travels, as Paul at this very moment is winging it back to his home base in Houston, Texas, after doing some client visits up in the Northeast. Hey, before we get into the meat of today's program, and there's no pun intended on that, as we will be focused on a phenomenal food concept today, but last week I shared CNBC's list of prominent athletes and celebrities in franchising, and I promised then that as the part of the front of the house today, I would come back with another list of CNBC's, which was comprised of some of the wackiest concepts and oddball franchises that you won't believe exist. So I'm going to give you a little bit of a couple of those that they talked about. I'm going to bypass a few that they actually named on their list that they thought were wacky. I didn't. Things like British Swim School or Big Frog T-shirts. Even my close friend Elena at Razzle Dazzle Barbershops made that list. But I really didn't think that those concepts were too far off the reservation, but there are a few on the list that I think I'm going to try out on you, because I thought, for one thing, these could be anything but franchise concepts. I had no belief that anybody was franchising some concepts like these. Now, a couple of runners-up that were also in that, well, not so wacky, but could be conceived by some as a little bit wacky: canine resorts, daycare, and luxury hotel for dogs. Well, that might have seemed a little off the beaten path until I learned about concepts like Christian Brothers Automotive, which I deemed to be, and I coined them as the Ritz-Carlton of car care. So Canine Resorts is kind of like the puppy paradise of the kennel world, and they made the list from CNBC. Nutty Scientists made the list. And again, our good friend of Paul's and mine, Sherry Christopher, at the head of the table for that franchise concept here in the U.S., teaching kids about science. Again, CNBC thought that was a little bit off color, but I thought it was great. Didn't think too much of it as being wacky or oddball. But here are a few that I think you'll agree would be nothing less than wacky or oddball, and you might have a hard time believing that these exist as U.S.-based franchises. One is called the Anger Room. The Anger Room is what you might call a franchise in progress. It's a Texas-based business. They've got 10 franchise units in the U.S., with international units pending as well. The Anger Room arms patrons with baseball bats and allows them to destroy rooms that have been mocked up to look like offices, kitchens, basically any room where garden variety frustration might give way to runaway rage. The Anger Room, $170,000 in annual revenues so far. Early stage, too early for me to know whether they'll ever make it or not. But I don't want to make any predictions and get anybody too angry. Another one is one called Bio One. Bio One. We all need help with household chores from time to time: vacuuming, dusting, cleaning the toilet. Those tasks are a time-wasting yawn at best. But what if the household that needs cleaning is the site of a gruesome, multiple homicide that requires a remedy way beyond? Well, luckily now there's Bio One. 43 franchised units, estimates its annual revenue as upward of $5 million, and their core competencies are offering services for such occasions as blood spill cleanup, medical waste disposal, emergency vehicle decontamination, and, well, let your imagination take you on from there. And then lastly, this one sounds interesting, a little bit of kumbaya. It's called the Cuddle Party. Now in its 13th year, Cuddle Party is a workshop in which groups of adults gather, lie on the floor together, and snuggle. No affection beyond innocent spooning is permitted, and facilitators must complete 10 weeks of training at a cost of $1,400 or $1,500 in order to be certified to host and lead cuddle parties. Well, I think you'll agree. A couple, at least, of those would qualify as wackier than most would think about in terms of being franchise concept. Let's bring it back to the mainstream, though, and focus on a gentleman we're going to talk with today who sits at the head of the table in senior management positions for 20-plus years in multi-unit franchising, restaurant franchising operations, multi-unit operations, training, brand development, somebody who I'm amazed to learn I don't know and haven't known until our first conversation earlier today. We're talking about Sal Rincione, who is the CEO of UFood Grill. Bad enough that we're both 20-plus years in franchising and in food, attending probably multiple conferences each year, and not yet knowing each other, which just goes to prove that as small a world as we are in franchising, we still have a long way to go to make all the connections and meet all the people we think we should know. But Sal and I both grew up in Brooklyn, New York. We both have roots on Long Island in New York. I came south, which is the logical thing to do with age, and made Atlanta home. Sal kind of went upstream and now calls Boston and Long Island home. Sal, welcome to Franchise Today.
Thanks, Stan. It's nice to meet you, and I look forward to talking to you today about my concept.
Well, I'm interested, too, in learning a lot more about your concept because as I learned about you and reading about you, I find that we have a couple other things in common. Both of us have been through the world of weight loss, and you've made healthy living and healthy eating a part of your world. So back up for us and just help the audience understand where your roots are, because you've been through some experience with some pretty major brands in your career. So tell us a little bit about Sal first, and then let's move through your career into the world you're living in today.
Well, sure. Thanks, Dan. So I have 20 years experience in franchising and multi-unit operations. My forte really has been new concept development, store design, construction management, and real estate selection. Prior to me being the CEO of UFood, I was the Vice President of Real Estate and Construction for Red Mango Yogurt and Smoothies, fabulous brand. I actually was with Red Mango when there was only 12 units, built it from 12 to over 400 units in North and South America to include Puerto Rico and Mexico. I worked with a gentleman named Bob DiBartolomeo. Bob was the franchise salesperson for Red Mango, so basically he sold them, and I had the honor of building them. Prior to Red Mango, I was with a small company called Five Guys Burgers. I was with Five Guys before anyone really knew what a Five Guys was, actually. Another hot brand. I was on the team that brought Five Guys to the New York, New Jersey DMA, which was really exciting times. And then prior to that, I was actually the VP of Planet Hollywood out of New York City. Worked directly with Robert Earl. Great guy. Learned a lot from Robert. Learned a lot from really my experiences throughout my 20 years in this industry. And then prior to that, I actually was a counterintelligence officer in the U.S. Army. So I have a lot of, and you'll see as you're talking, I have a lot of ties with the military, especially with my current brand, UFood, and proud to serve in the military. That's kind of the little history of me.
I love hearing about the military. We praise VetFran and VetFran participants on this program all the time, and we encourage people to look with a forward view toward bringing veterans into their business. But when we get a guy on the phone and into the conversation like you, who is the product of a background that included the disciplines of military, we get a snapshot of the success in life that you've brought to franchising that no doubt came from some of that early career of yours in the military. I'm sure you'd agree.
No question about it. The military made me the man that I am. It taught me, obviously, discipline, but it taught me systems and how to treat people. I consider myself a pretty unorthodox CEO. And what I mean by that is, I'm very hands-on. I don't consider myself a pencil pusher. I'm really a developer, and whether I'm developing the brand or developing relationships with franchisees, I take it very personal, every decision that's made. I have to look at myself in the mirror and know that I'm making the right decisions, not only for my business, but the franchisees that follow me. Did I lose you, Stan? Hello? Hello?
Sal, hold on just a moment. Let me try to get Stan back on.
Okay.
See, Paul goes away, and we have all kinds of glitches that would never happen if Paul was here.
That's all right. I'm not sure what you heard.
Well, I heard everything I needed to hear, and what I was trying to say was high five to you for your years of service before you got into franchising and for bringing the best parts of that life into this one. So let's talk about the world that we're in today, and specifically let's talk about society moving from burgers and fries to becoming obsessed with a healthier lifestyle. Can you tell us a little bit about UFood Grill and the niche in the marketplace that you've kind of cornered with UFood, and a little bit about the concept?
Absolutely. First of all, at UFood, our mission is dedicated to be the fast casual food service provider, serving, people that are committed to a healthy lifestyle or aspiring to adopt a healthy lifestyle. I consider myself the guy that aspired to adopt a healthy lifestyle, which we'll get into shortly. We're very laser focused on high quality, affordable, good for you food that is delicious, nutritious, and complements our customers' fitness goals. We have customizable meal options. We're very unique to dietary needs. We're very keen on nonprofits. We're keen on ensuring that our nutritionals are specific to the person that is actually ordering our food. What I mean by that is our menu consists of fresh proteins. We have grass-fed steak, free-range chicken. We have fresh turkey. We have grilled tiger shrimp. We have healthy builds such as kale, quinoa. We have Brussels sprouts, brown rice, broccoli. Nothing is ever fried. There are no fryers in any UFood Grill. Everything is baked or steamed. So our unfries they're baked. We have sweet potato fries that are baked. We have build-your-own burgers. We offer vegan and gluten-free options. We offer breakfast, lunch, and dinner, so we have all 3 day parts. We offer breakfast all day. Nothing on the menu is over 700 calories. We're very keen to ensuring that our product falls within the health guidelines. And it's funny because we have, I'm on military bases. Thus, I said I get into military. Well, I'm on 12 military bases right now, Air Force bases. And we participate in a program called Go for Green. And what that is, the military, obviously, they're very keen on ensuring that, military servicemen and women are eating healthy. And so they have a Go for Green program, means that anything that's red, anything that's in a red column means you don't want to eat it. Yellow is cautionary, and green is those are items that are good for you to eat, that are good for you foods. 90% of our menu is in the green, which is a huge accolade for the brand. We're also in the process of going through what's called Real certification. Real certification the best way to describe it is almost like getting LEEDs certified, but for food. And we have a nutritionist who will be coming to our store. They'll certify that our food is not only delicious but nutritious for you, and it tastes good. So, a lot of the big brands currently are scrambling to change their menus, to change the customer's perception of their product, to make sure, what I mean by that is to change the perception that they have a healthier product. Well, we've been doing this for 14 years, quite frankly. UFood was the very first concept to ever post their calories before it was mandatory. So we're very proud of our product, and it's a great opportunity for someone trying to get in on a healthy, fast casual concept that really has the right systems in place. Everything you do in franchising is all about the right systems and the right people. And we definitely have those systems in place.
We're going to talk more about the franchise opportunity and how you attract the right people for the opportunity in a few more minutes. But let's unpack a little bit more about the concept first so that the audience gets an understanding of the difference between brands that do, as you've described, try to put something on the menu to accommodate a need, or a brand like yours whose entire reason for being is to accommodate a need. So you're not adding things on just to say, okay, we got something healthy, and you're not displaying nutritional values on your menu because a state or local government says you have to. Your whole concept is built and designed around the idea of healthy living and healthy eating. And in a fast casual environment, that's kind of a one-off in my view. I mean, I've never heard of a fast casual concept having a seasoned chef on their team. How do you manage that from a food cost perspective, and what does that do for the consumer who's, as a customer, looking for the best healthy option they can for their family, but within the range of a budget? Is pricing that much different, or is it pretty much in line with the competitive set?
Well, that's a good question. So our executive chef his name is Phil Casca. He comes from He came from Dunkin' Brands, and he came from Cozy Restaurants. He's culinary trained in Le Cordon Bleu in England, as well as Johnson & Wales University. There are two things that our chef does. One is product and innovation. What I mean by product is that sourcing the right product for the right cost. We have great purchasing power through our supplier, which is Cisco. We have a partnered brand or meat processor called NPC out of Vermont. So all of our product comes from one sourced location. As far as innovation, well, we use the latest technology. I don't. Phil does. He uses the latest technology called Chef Tech. Chef Tech is a program that we put all of our ingredients in. It spits out our exact food costs based on our retails, and we're able to do the right analysis to ensure that, number one, we have the right product that we're sourcing, and number two, is the right cost. So we're very technical, and I will tell you, that's what makes us a lot different from other brands. I actually have an experienced executive chef that works directly for me and for this brand and for the franchisees to ensure that we're getting the right product, sourced correctly, and that we can logistically handle it, right? So we have to make sure that whatever we get, like let's hypothetically say we want them to do, a great salmon sandwich. Well, we got to make sure that the cost is right, and we can actually logistically support our franchisees. A lot of franchises they'll try to source items that just isn't realistic, and so I use a lot of realism, and so does Phil when we source our product.
But is the cost for a meal going to be pretty comparable to other restaurants in the marketplace, or do you have to kind of find locations that are going to be on the upper end of the socioeconomic scale, or do families find themselves willing to pay a little bit more because of all of the extra quality that they're getting, or is the wallet not feeling the pain of the healthy choice at all?
Well, that's the beauty of my concept. It doesn't hurt your wallet. Our check average per person is $10. So I mean, you could take a family of four, all in and spend $60 and have a real sit-down dining meal in a UFood Grill. I mean, our steak tips are proprietary. It's our marinade is proprietary to what Phil has created. I mean, our food is seriously sit-down restaurant quality. And we're able to do that because we have good purchasing power through our suppliers. So, yeah, it doesn't hurt your wallet, and not only is it delicious, nutritious, but it's actually pretty inexpensive.
So that would tell me that driving loyalty in your business is probably not as big a challenge once a customer has discovered your locations. They're probably back frequently and happy to be there. How do you balance that with the need for a franchisee to be operationally excellent, and also seemingly, in my mind, would have to probably be somebody who's pretty focused on marketing too, to try to make sure that the marketplace knows that this option's even there and available to them.
Well, we are 100% focused on marketing. I have a marketing firm that I use out of Dallas, Texas, called BizCom, headed by Monica Fide and Scott White. I've actually been using BizCom for years with through Red Mango when I was with Red Mango. So when I took over UFood, it only made sense to bring Monica and BizCom with us. So our 2% marketing ad fund that we collect goes directly back to the franchisee's location. So the money we collect on the 2%, it goes directly back to that DMA that the stores are located in. You know, marketing, you know, they always say it's all about location, which is 100% correct. But without the right marketing, you will lose. And we have the right product, we have the right systems, but the marketing is probably one of the most important things to get the brand out there. As a matter of fact, for instance, our franchisee, Dr. Steve Goldberg, he is out of Maryland. We have a site that's getting ready. It's actually under design right now at the Owings Mills Metro Center. Mm-hmm. Press release. We're doing a national press release for Dr. Goldberg's location. On top of that, his landlord is actually doing a local press release as well. So Monica and BizCom has linked up with Dr. Goldberg's PR firm to ensure that we're not overlapping. So we are very, very aware of marketing, especially throughout my experiences. You know, one thing I will say that Red Mango did well was they marketed the brand very, very well. And, when Red Mango was really small, the perception was it was such a big company when we really weren't back in the day. So marketing, we're very keen to marketing. It's very important.
Talk to me about the day parts. How do, what's the typical day part concentration look like? How early do you guys open, and how many different day parts do you accommodate on your menu?
So our menu has an array of items. So for breakfast, we have about half a dozen sandwiches. We have a breakfast bowl. We have for lunch an easy 10 or so sandwiches. We have entrees. So our entrees are really interesting because when you order your entree, you're going to order your protein, and then you're going to order two sides. We actually are going to have a button that we're putting on our. By the way, we have our units are going to have self-serve kiosks as well. And the cool thing about our kiosk is there's a button that says Workout Warrior. You hit the Workout Warrior button, and you can order how much protein you want by ounce. So you get a healthy, health conscious man or woman that comes in there, and they're on I need 12 ounces of chicken breast. Well, they can order 12 ounces of chicken breast, a side of steamed broccoli, and a side of rice and quinoa. And that's something no one's doing, by the way. No one is doing what we're doing with the self-serve kiosk. By the way, we get our self-serve kiosks from a company called Next Step. They really are the innovators in self-serve technology. So our day parts are really exciting. Our menu is, I would say, it's the right size. It's not too big, and it's definitely not too small. There's definitely something for everybody. Our flavors, by the way, our flavor profile is really, I call from around the world. We have some Mediterranean dishes. We have an Indian dish from India. We have obviously American flair type dishes as well. But there's definitely something that will attract your taste buds when you come to a UFood.
And again, because it's all healthy, and it's all nutritious, and it's all within the scope of what a family would expect to be paying for the burgers and fries. Once you attract somebody to your concept, I'm certain it doesn't require a great deal of effort on loyalty, but do you run loyalty programs to bring people back?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, we are getting ready to start our loyalty program. So our POS system is interesting. So I'm going to talk about it real quick so you'll understand where we're going with this. So Next Step Technologies, we have created our POS system, which is also self-serve technology. On top of that, it's integrated with a loyalty system, online ordering, catering program. You can go right to the kiosk and punch in your email address or your phone number to your telephone. It'll send you a link, and you're automatically entered into our loyalty program. And that's something else that no one's really doing because it's new technology. And I'm actually going to be at the Javits Center, the restaurant show next month, which I'm going to be featuring my Next Step self-serve kiosk at booth 110 in New York City.
Is this at the IFE, or is this a different show?
The IFE, yes. IFE at Javits Center.
Awesome.
Yep, we'll be there at booth 110. You can't miss us.
We're speaking today about healthy food, and we're talking with Sal Rincione, CEO of UFood Grill out of Boston, and we're going to get into a lot more about Sal's concept and its franchise opportunities in just a moment. But first, I'm reminding you that this is Franchise Today, and I'm Stan Friedman. And we'll be back with Sal in a moment. But first, a reminder that Franchise Today is brought to you by the Franchise Foundry, a business accelerator boasting more than 30 years of experience helping emerging brands bring sustainable growth to their franchise systems. Utilizing hybrid coaching and consulting approaches, the Foundry team fosters the development and deployment of effective short- and long-term solutions for their clients in several key areas, including franchise management and operations, change management, traditional and digital marketing and technology, relationship and business management, and, of course, franchise recruitment and development. The Franchise Foundry also assists franchise brands with raising capital and with the exploration of merger and acquisition opportunities. Learn more about their expanding list of clients across various segments at franchisefoundry.com. That's www.franchisefoundry.com for Paul Segreto's Franchise Foundry. Franchise Today is also brought to you by FRM Solutions, offering best-in-class CRM and content management software designed specifically for managing franchised relationships. Built in industry-leading Microsoft Dynamics CRM, these solutions are both cloud-based as well as fully accessible from right inside your Outlook inbox. With FRM, you'll spend more time focused on the business of building top and bottom line growth, while FRM assists with effectively managing communications and collaboration with prospective and existing franchisees. Sort, report, and dashboard all of your vital data and empower your team to accelerate franchise sales, streamline store openings, and better manage your processes, workflows, unit-level performance, and compliance. No hassles, no long-term contracts, no excuses, just solutions. You'll find them on the web at frmsolutions.com. So, Sal, it's time for us to, with this foundation that you've laid for us about the concept, about the space that you occupy in the food universe, let's talk a little bit more about how franchisees succeed in your business, how you separate the wheat from the chaff in finding the very best people to operate your brands. Are they single or multi-unit operators? Are they all traditional or some non-traditional? Let's kind of unpack the business side of the business and talk a little bit about who succeeds in this world and why.
Sure, Stan. So what we look for in a franchisee is obviously, number one, they have to have passion for the UFood brand, first and foremost. You have to be excited for the brand. Two, obviously, we'd like someone with restaurant experience or is going to build an infrastructure of seasoned restaurant professionals to run the location. Financially, it's actually a low-cost entry. All in for UFood, $500,000 gets you all in on building a UFood. That's with hard and soft costs. That's fees, permitting, building it, all soup to nuts. As far as support, well, we really are a one-stop shop. I have a company that we use, a nationwide real estate company called Sites Matter. Sites Matter has a very interesting business model. They are a national real estate brokerage firm, and all they do is do the analytics and find locations for quick service restaurants. So we do the analytics side. We help and find the real estate. We submit the LOI on behalf of the franchisee. Obviously, it's up to the franchisee to approve the final lease negotiations through their attorney. We do all of their construction management. We literally, all that the franchisee has to do is just focus on getting their ops team ready while we get their store located and built. And I think that definitely sets us out above the rest. One thing that I would say why I'm so unorthodox is that, like I said previously, I'm a developer, so I'm personally working with the franchisees on site selection, the construction management, getting the general contractor bids, helping them pick the right GC, all in. I mean, right down to the marketing support through BizCom for their stores. It has been a real great ride since I took this company over, March of 2015. Currently, we are in the non-traditional market. We are on 13 Air Force bases. We actually have 2 more under construction as we speak. On top of that, we have Liberty University in Lynchburg, Virginia, under construction. I'm actually going to be there next week to do a site tour with that team.
How many units are there in total right now, and how far and wide do you spread from the New England marketplace that you call home base?
Yeah, so we currently have 16 locations in 15 states. And the reason why is that might sound a little disjointed because those states also include the Air Force bases that we are located in. So we're kind of all over with the Air Force bases. We're also in airports. I have 2 locations in Logan Airport, Terminal B, which is my corporate store that we just remodeled to our new finishes, as well as Terminal C, JetBlue. We have 2 locations in Salt Lake City, Utah Airport, as well as 1 location in DFW Airport. Those are all franchised units. I'll tell you, our franchisees are absolutely outstanding, seasoned operators. A lot of them are multi-unit operators. To answer your previous question, I'm obviously looking for multi-unit and single-unit operators. My model in the traditional market is very laser-focused on a specific demographic area. My goal is to build the Northeast, only because it logistically makes sense. I have no desire to have disjointed growth where I can't logistically and operationally, support you. So our focus, really, I consider it my backyard. Really, the Northeast area down to Florida is what we're focused on.
Suburban more than urban, or both?
I would say for a typical UFood, I am more comfortable in a lifestyle center with strong anchors, such as a supermarket or, a supermarket such as like a Wegmans or a Whole Foods, as well as next to like a Gold's Gym or Lifetime Fitness or things of that nature. The demographic gender that we really attract are healthy male and females, and ranging from 15, to 50 years old. Now, obviously, that can be broken down into different categories of what they are. So really, what we have are the baby boomers. We have millennials, and we have more of the the younger or the college type kids that are looking for healthy alternatives. One thing I will say about our concept, it's very mainstream. it really, we attract all different types of age demographic because of the offer, well, because of what we offer on our menu, quite frankly, and the health aspects of it. One thing I will say about, the healthy trends, they're here to stay. I mean, it's quite obvious. I mean, we've been around since 2004. I always think that this concept was ahead of its time, over, 12, 13 years ago. Now, fast forward to 2016 and beyond, this is it. Everyone, there are competitors out there that are trying to do what we're doing, but we really are the innovators in this segment.
What about the size of the average footprint? Because you're all over the place in terms of development being traditional and non-traditional. So if we were just to take the average square footage of an inline strip location, what would the box look like?
Very simple. It's anywhere from 1,800 to 2,500 square feet. I don't need a very large footprint for my units. I particularly like, 30 or more seats in the store would be nice. When you're designing a restaurant, this is probably rhetorical, but you design the kitchen first, and then you design around the kitchen. So our kitchen footprint is about 800 square feet, and then everything else coincides after the kitchen is designed. So we're pretty reasonably sized footprint.
And we talked about the quality and that there are no fryers, and so from a cleanliness perspective, that's great for the kitchen. You're talking about how many items in inventory on average?
Items in inventory, I would say on the average, our SKUs, if you will, we probably have about 50 SKUs. We have very limited SKUs.
Yeah, this is a pretty simple operation, isn't it?
It is an extremely simple operation. It's funny. When I do discovery days, by the way, this is rhetorical, but discovery day is when prospective franchisees meet me. I do a presentation. We do a food tasting. I have a test kitchen in our partnered company called C.R. Peterson out of Avon, Massachusetts. So they were gracious enough to let us use their kitchen. So we do all of our discovery days there. And I always say, use the Mexican food platform. What that means is, if you buy a burrito, right? That burrito is the same ingredients that's in a chimichanga, or the same ingredients that's in a quesadilla. It's just formatted differently. It's very similar, and so we use a lot of ease of use, limited SKUs, and it's a very simple operation. We have combi ovens. Combi oven is a combination oven, so everything you put in, you literally put the item in, you press a button, and it cooks your food. With the exception, obviously, for the grill, because we're a grill, so you obviously have to have some grilling skills to grill a burger or a turkey burger or chicken or shrimp. But everything else is pretty simple.
And everything comes off of one truck, or is there multiple deliveries? It sounds to me like it's a pretty easy operation.
It is. So we have one distributor, that's Cisco. Our other partnered suppliers go through Cisco. And one thing that we do differently is we encourage the franchisees to use their local produce supplier in that area, which we've
Which makes nothing but sense. Yeah, that should be easy enough for any of them to source without changing anything to do with the rest of the experience for the customer, right?
That's right. I've learned a lot in my 20 years, and so I like to use the KISS method in everything that we do.
Yep.
And so we keep it nice and simple for the franchisees. Very simple.
So you are looking for seasoned professionals in food, but seasoned professionals in food that might be looking for a break in terms of the ease of operation. Give us a rundown of who is that perfect candidate. Is it somebody that's already operating a more complex kind of a restaurant environment, or is it somebody that might be looking to bolt on to something that they already operate and don't have any restrictive covenants in your space? Who's the perfect ideal person? Who's listening to this podcast right now that ought to be calling you as soon as they hear this broadcast?
Well, I would say the perfect person or persons is someone that probably already has a franchise that is probably limited to their growth, or they've maxed out their growth at the current franchise, if you're looking for something new, fresh, different, and easy, well, then UFood is the brand for you. As well as people that are just now getting into franchising, well, we make it easy for you, especially for military personnel. I'm giving for military personnel half the franchise fee, half all the fees really, and I will hold your hand through the process personally. And then we have someone. I'm going to use Dr. Steve Goldberg in Maryland. He is a gentleman that does not have restaurant experience, but has the passion for the brand and is building an infrastructure to open multiple UFoods in Maryland. So he's bringing on a seasoned restaurant manager or director of ops, if you will, that will oversee his location. So really, quite frankly, UFood could be for anybody because of the systems that we have in place to ensure your success for growth.
Do you guys offer an Item 19? Are there any financial performance?
We have our financials. We do not have an Item 19 because we're really basic. I call it the oldest startup I've ever done because my company bought the UFood brand 2 years ago. I took the company over about a year and a half ago, and so we've rebranded. It's really a brand new menu, new design, new logo. So yes, we have our financials on our FDD, but we do not have an Item 19 yet.
Well, it would seem to me that while in some cases, the lack of financial performance representations might be impediment in some brands, it would seem to me that those who are finding you on the business side are probably a lot like those that are consumers for your product. There's passion and belief in the concept that is causing investment that might not in other places be as easily found. I find that brands that have the kind of loyalty that are engendered in concepts like yours can compensate for maybe not having the Item 19 in place just yet.
That's correct. One lead that I believe we have in our competition really is just our concept, and again, I'll say again, is our systems. We are definitely, I'm an unorthodox CEO. I work directly with the franchisees. I'm doing the development personally along with Walter Parmelo, who is my Vice President of Real Estate and Construction. Walter has been with UFood since its inception, so he has seen it all. I actually rely on Walter for many things. And then, of course, we have Irma Norton, who is our CFO, who's been with the company for 12 years. So we have a really solid management team, and obviously me working with Bob DiBartolomeo, who's my Vice President of Franchise Sales. I honestly can't do it without Bob. I've worked with Bob for many years. I trust Bob. I consider Bob a partner through this venture since we took the brand over, and he has been a force to be reckoned with when we took the company over because Bob has built the franchise system. He built this franchise system from scratch. We use, Fran Connect. We have a brand new website, and everything, all the leads that we get go directly to Bob. So he really is the matriarch behind the franchise system, and it's a pleasure working with Bob.
So when somebody finds out about you, just what's the 30,000-foot overview of your process look like? They come to a discovery day at what point, early on or later? Do they have to come spend some time, stand behind the line and picture themselves a day in the life? How do you guys run your operation from the perspective of development?
Very simple. So when Bob gets the franchise lead in, it gets directly emailed to him through Fan Connect. He'll reach out. He'll send them the FDD, send an application, qualify them. Once they're qualified, Bob will schedule a discovery day over at our test kitchen in Avon, Massachusetts. It's an all-day event. I have a very precise and elaborate presentation. It's very structured. We have an agenda. So they come in. It starts at 9 a.m. We do introductions. We have a breakfast tasting. And then we get to the introductions of the staff. And then really myself, Walter, and Irma do the presentation. We have a lunch break. We do lunch tasting, and then we do more presentation, and then we have a dinner break, and they try probably half the menu, I would say, in little bites, of course. And once that happens, I'll use Dr. Goldberg, for instance. He was wowed by our team and our systems and the brand itself, and the rest really is just getting a franchise agreement done, and then we start rocking and rolling. Sites Matter, my real estate broker that we use, gets involved, and we start looking for a location.
We're talking with Sal Rincione, CEO at UFood Grill, about the up-and-coming fast casual concept that features health and a healthy menu as its whole reason for being. Sal, there's another common denominator. We started out this program talking about both of us being New York in our roots, many years in franchising and in food and not knowing each other. I found yet one more common denominator that we should talk about before we wrap up here today, and that's my passion for helping twilight year athletes transition into another place called franchising and trading in their playbooks for some things called ops manuals. As the co-founder of the Pro Athlete Franchise Initiative, I see in some of the material that I've read about you that UFood recently announced that you've brought a member of the former Boston Celtics organization, player coach ML Carr, into your family of franchisees. Tell us how that's working out for you and some pearls of wisdom that you've learned from incorporating pro athletes into franchising.
Well, I will tell you, it has been an absolute honor and pleasure to have ML Carr sit on our board of directors. The amount of knowledge that this gentleman has really is second to none. He has so many ties, obviously, to NBA and sports figures. He is so excited about this brand. He's actually, not only is he sits on our board, but he's overseeing our franchise process to ensuring that everything fits in with the healthy aspect. ML is also obviously talking to other sports figures about the UFood brand. So he brings such value to UFood, and I couldn't be more delighted to have ML sitting on our board and working with him daily. It's been great.
If you took a look ahead, you're going to finish this year with how many licensed and yet to open, and then what are your goals for the next 1, 3, even 5 years? And what about the balance between traditional and non-traditional growth? How do you see that playing out?
Yeah, I see us continuing the relationship through Sodexo with the Air Force bases. Again, I have 2 more Air Force bases coming up, Minot Air Force Base, as well as San Antonio Air Force Base. I see us veering more towards the traditional segment. We're building the brick-and-mortar stores. Although I love non-traditional, it's still somewhat of a focus, but really we're more laser-focused on the Northeast traditional locations. As far as this year is concerned, I'm in talks with a couple of sites for corporate stores that we're going to be building in the Boston area. I have Dr. Goldberg's store will be opening fourth quarter of this year at the Owings Mills Metro Center in Owings Mills, Maryland. We're going to have Liberty University open in August. So I will end the year up with one more street store, and for this year we'll end up with 5 more non-traditional locations. My scope for development for the next 3 to 4 years is anywhere from 50 to 75 street stores based on the development schedule we have right now and based on how many leads we have coming in, people that we're in talks with applications. One thing I will say about UFood, we are definitely an up-and-coming brand, a force to be reckoned with, and we stand behind this brand, our prototype, our franchisees that are signing up, and the space that we're going to be occupying.
You talked about the International Franchise Expo upcoming. Any other shows or expos that you'll be attending that are currently on the calendar that you might want to invite the audience to try to find you at?
Yeah, so we're members with Florida Restaurant Association, So in October, there's a golf classic that we're going to be attending. We're actually going to have two things. We're going to have, believe it or not, a Bloody Mary bar, and we're going to have a barbecue pit where Chef Kafka is going to be featuring some of his grilled options, burgers and chicken sandwiches and things of that nature. We're going to be attending the Tampa restaurant show. We'll be there, just attending, and we'll be there. Hopefully, be able to shake hands and meet some new people. Bob DiBartolomeo will be at both of these events with me, as well as Kat Kaufman, my director of operations and training, who, by the way, I took from who came from Shake Shack and Red Mango. She worked for me in a past life at Red Mango as well.
You know, I got to say that, you know, learning about you and about your background, what a great testament on LinkedIn to have Dan Kim giving you a testimonial to you about how important a role you played in his life after he started Red Mango. And you've covered a lot of real estate in your career over 20 plus years, and it just amazes me again that as many of the same circles as we've traveled in, it took this program today to bring us together for the very first time, which just continues to impress me about how many wonderful people there are in our world of franchising that we've yet to meet but still need to know. Tell our audience, if you would, Sal, how others can find you if they don't meet you at one of these shows that you've just talked about. How do they find you in the virtual world, and what's the best way for them to learn both about your consumer as well as your business and franchise opportunity?
Sure. You can find us at www.ufoodgrill.com or bobd@ufoodgrill.com. Also, you can reach me on my office line at 781-791-4552. If you like any further information, contact me. You can also reach me on my email at it's Rincione, Rincione, @ufoodgrill.com.
Any last thoughts that you'd want to share with the audience that I didn't cover, Sal? This would be the time to do it.
Well, again, we are focused on the Northeast down to Florida. We're always looking for great franchisees that are passionate for the brand. I challenge you to find a better brand, because I don't think you will, especially in this segment, healthy, fast, casual. We are excited for our growth. We're excited for where UFood is going, and I look forward for 2016 and beyond.
And we the same. I'm looking forward to meeting you in New York in a couple of weeks. Are you serving any food at the IFE?
We won't be serving food, but you'll be learning a lot about the brand.
Well, let's go have a cup of coffee then anyway and put faces and names and voices all together, and it'll be my pleasure to see you when I meet you at Javits Center. Until then, Sal, I want to thank you for being my guest today. I want to thank you on behalf of Paul Segreto, who invited you here and then, due to travel, wound up unable to be here with us today. But I know Paul is probably listening either at 37,000 feet or on his way home from the airport, one or the other. Sal, thanks so much for being our guest. And that about wraps it up for this edition of Franchise Today. We will see you back here again next week at the same time when Paul returns. Keep an eye on Facebook and Twitter for who our guest will be. And until then, I'm Stan Friedman, wishing you the best, the very best, in this great, great thing we call franchising. Franchise Today is out.
When you're part of a military family, you understand sacrifice and support. At American Public University, we honor your dedication by extending our military tuition savings to your extended family. Parents, spouses, legal partners, siblings, and dependents all qualify for APU's preferred military rate of just $250 per credit hour for undergraduate and master's level programs. American Public University. Value for the whole family. Learn more at apu.apus.edu/military.